While it's true there are pockets of rebellion, there has never been any evidence of a larger-scale, galaxy-wide operation.
And I would like to keep it that way, Admiral Constantine.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Grand Admiral?
The Emperor recently promoted me after my victory at Batum.
Grand Admiral Thrawn believes the rebels intend to raid the plant and steal fighters for their fleet.
I trust you have a solution.
I will start my operations here and pull the rebels apart piece by piece. They'll be the architects of their own destruction. What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality for those who may oppose us. Long live the Empire.
Hello again, friends, and welcome back to Slimbone's LEGO Star Wars channel. While it's true that I did a complete overhaul of the 75252 Ultimate Collector Series Star Destroyer over 3 years ago, I was still very new to the LEGO sport at that time. Believe it or not, this idea has been over a year in the making. A huge shout out goes to Neil at Breaking Bricks. While I was working on the final touches of last year's Venator project, he texted me this photo and told me it would be cool if I redid the bottom of the Star Destroyer like this. Neil, thanks a ton for the idea. If anyone knows who the person was that posted this photo originally on Reddit, leave a comment. The ship wouldn't be half as cool without it. I need to give a shout out to two more channels, Hachiroku24 and Commander Bricks. Their designs were more or less included in this build, and they'll get mentioned again when we get there. The Chimaera design on the bottom of this ship is almost identical to the photo. I spent a long time going over and over it and waiting for parts to show. Only differences that were made were to change some studded pieces to tiles. As we compare images from the original instructions, anyone can see an enormous difference. All of these colors are too distracting to properly add a minifigure interior to it. The teardown of my 2022 design happened back in December. So many hours of my time were put into it back then. Lots of awesome memories. I learned a lot, and have continued to do so these past 3 years. An important thing I learned from last time is that the original stand is very wobbly when you add lots more weight to the Star Destroyer. The new stand construction is stronger and allows for a clearer view of the design on the hull of the ship. It also stands one plate higher and is strong enough for one to pick up the model from a different spot. This time around, the structure was modified to allow for enough room to add a bridge and crew pits. It is important to not sacrifice the strength of the structure, especially with the extra weight of an interior. If you look at what I did and compare it to the original design, you'll get a good idea of what was done. The rear half of the central spine, just behind the sections that angle to the starboard and port sides of the ship, were redesigned with a triple side-by-side layer of Technic bricks. Not only is this section of the structure the best and roomiest place to add an interior, it is the easiest to modify as there aren't many other connections being made until we reach the rear. Outside of the vertical 15-length pair of lift arms, I only needed to get creative with multiple styles of Technic connectors on the ends of these layered bricks to get the fit right to the remaining original design. The 3-layered brick section is not only reinforced with 2 and 3 length pins in every available hole, it is also reinforced with a layer of plates on the top and bottom and 2x3 tiles on top of the top plates. I promise you, it is very strong. And it's super awesome to have the extra available space and strength. If that's not enough strength, notice that I included horizontal side-by-side lift arm connections underneath the new design for further support. They don't get in the way, and there's no reason not to include them due to the extra weight of the upcoming interior. For your reference, I'm including these photos I used when assembling the rear of this new structure. They were purposefully made with multiple colors to make it easy for me to reassemble once the black pieces arrived from Bricklink. The central horizontal side columns were improved from what was done in my 2022 version. Before, I just replaced any gross color with black. For a cleaner and more uniform look, I changed every piece to light bluish gray other than the 3 connecting sections, which are black. Another improvement made from my previous version was to make sure every lift arm used in the center of the top and bottom of this structure is changed to light bluish gray. It's a little nitpicky, but if one is to view the model from the top or bottom, and the structure is visible in any way, it should be the same color as the exterior of the Star Destroyer. The only pieces that aren't light bluish gray on the inside of the bottom panels are the 15456 2x2 plates with toe ball. 2 months ago, I temporarily changed them to light bluish gray, but I found that the strength is somehow compromised in that color. I had 2 of the light bluish gray versions of this piece snap at the ball end before I switched back to black. So strange. The Chimaera design on the bottom of this ship looks amazing. Again, I'd love to give the original designer credit, but I don't know who it was. As was mentioned before, the only pieces I changed from that original design were some of the plates that could have been tiles. While we're on the subject of tiles, you'll see that most areas on the outside of the ship have been decorated. When tiles were added to the Star Destroyer in 2022, I put them on almost every stud, with zero regard as to how it would look. In the past 3 years, I've learned to leave wedge plates alone while tiling, for the most part. As you'll see throughout this video, I have the model standing on a mirror, which is positioned onto a turntable. The most significant part of the outside of this ship is, without a doubt, the Chimaera, so I felt it was important to showcase it in the best way possible. Having the mirror on a turntable has really been an added benefit when filming or taking photos, too. Continuing through the book, we see the changes made to the front and rear sides of the solar ionization reactor, the attack hangar, and the forward hangar. This time around, every exterior piece of this ship, with the exception of the Chimaera, was changed to light bluish gray. It is my opinion that is the only color needed to represent a Star Destroyer in Lego. The trick is to create an interesting enough texture to look at. There are many pieces in the rear of the ship that get color changed from the original design. Super important if you're planning to add a minifigure interior, because you see the back side of so many parts. Unfortunately, there are 2 important pieces that aren't available in light bluish gray. When this happens, you run with the best option available and decorate the areas around it as best you can. The greebles and tiles on the top and bottom thruster ports flaps look fantastic. Since there is a lot going on in the back of the Star Destroyer, it's easy to miss the fun details of improved spots. My apologies for the shakiness in some of the short video sections of this upload. I'm doing my best, but can only control so much at this age. I tried learning how to use one of those gimbal video stabilizing devices, but it appears I'm just a smidge too old and out of touch. At this point, we've added the last part of the underside of this gorgeous ship. I hope you're enjoying this video even half as much as I do, looking at it in person and on display every day. While this has been a massive undertaking, I've been doing my best with this project and at a pace I can tolerate. It's a joy to be and feel creative, even if it is mostly decorating someone else's work. The next comparison is a big one. The front and rear top panels are now one unit. And what's better is that both the port and starboard sides simply rest in place, other than awkwardly attaching by ball and joint pieces. It's amazing how this new way works. Simply insert a 2L bar with stop into a 1x2 brick with axle hole. Add a 2x2 inverted curved slope and the necessary plates behind it to properly attach to the panel. The stop part of the 2L bar rests against the socket found along the horizontal side columns. In total, there are 7 ball sockets along the top and bottom of each horizontal side column. You'll of course use the sockets facing down to fit the 2x2 plate with ball joint pieces as normal. The sockets facing upwards will simply hold the new connector design just shown. The top panels will simply rest in place as long as you've lined it up properly. From here, we fill out the remaining sections for the top of this heavily modified and decorated UCS 75252 Star Destroyer. This set was my very first Lego set. From day one, I questioned why it had to have all those stupid colors on the inside and why the surface of the outside couldn't be more smooth. From there, I learned about ordering pieces online and acquiring plates and axles and pins in, from my perspective, smarter colors. Here is a view of the back of the rear panel. The fins sticking out the back match the back fins on the bottom panel. It is finally time to show you the minifigure interior. In 2022, it never crossed my mind that anything could be done with the bridge. Honestly, any of the changes made here are over the top, but it's fun to include them anyway. You can stand 2 figures on either side of the decorated bridge, but they need to be removed when attaching the outer pieces. The walkway in the neck of the bridge is only 4 studs wide, but that's not going to stop me from including a small interior with decorations on the inside of each panel. I love these additions so much. Similar to the Lego playset versions of the Star Destroyers, I wanted the rear of the neck to swing open. In the playsets, that's where the extra projectile laser arrows are kept. In this one, it's extra access to a tiled walkway that leads to a secret command station. Getting back to where we left off, we'll see some of the final comparisons. The bridge cleans up quite nicely with its exterior. And then we see the differences of the top sections. I love these pieces. In my opinion, this is my finest tiling and greebling work on this set. Even decorated and tiled off the inner floors. Why not? The center column piece was redesigned for a more accurate look and was extended too. If anyone is curious, I have no idea how much money has been put into this model. I can tell you that most of my many Star Wars sets from these past few years have been disassembled and filed away. While it's true that some money was spent recently for this project, so much of what was needed for it was pulled from my inventory. Thrawn'S Chimaera looks fantastic. I'm more pleased with how this turned out than any other Lego project I've had the pleasure to work on. It feels so good to finish this up. But stay tuned for the minifigure interior. I know you're going to love it. Before we get started, I get all my reproduction Lego stickers from Brick Sticker Shop. Fair pricing, Lego quality, and I highly recommend them. Why pay $50 or more for a sheet of official Lego stickers from over 10 years ago, when you can get the same thing for a fraction of the price, and they're new? Okay, we'll put this piece right here. This is the rear starboard side lower level, complete with the right side bridge crew pit. These crew pits are about 90% Hachiroku 24's design, and his design fits between these red arrows. I watched his Imperial Star Destroyer bridge video over and over and over again and prayed that the size of his pits would fit into this model. They do. If you've never seen the video, I highly recommend you watch it. 3 years ago, I attempted to mount the interior to the structure. This way is much easier. Get the height right in all 4 corners of a section, place it carefully on the floor, and use additional studs on the floor to keep them seated properly. When I tile a floor, I prefer the 2x2 pattern for a more uniform look. You probably don't care, but I do. Next up, we have the rear port side lower level complete with the left side bridge crew pit and prison cell. I'm using multiple copies of the crew member figure that came with the original UCS set. Gave them black hats because that's accurate. All 7 of these crew members, you'll see the 7th one later, have unique headset faces. Next up is the bridge runway. I cannot stress enough how absolutely ecstatic I am that there is a proper bridge interior in this model. Grand Admiral Thrawn is home. The torso for Thrawn can be found at Hall of Bricks. Next up is the rear port side upper level, the detention block, complete with stairs that run to the lower prison cell, security station, and stairs that run to the lower level. I chose to build this floor on top of black plates to make the column of grill tiles pop better. Once the floor is put into place, the stairs connect with the prison cell. Next, we have the front prison walls and door. The front walls are put into place, then pushed back against the slopes that make up part of the cell walls. Then the door can slide up and down on rails. Since the prison walls are in place, we can mount the matching wall pillar. Next, we add the minifigs, completing the level with a security droid, filthy rebel scum Ezra Bridger, a mouse droid, 2 of the new Navy troopers, but with unique faces, a stormtrooper, and the recruitment chief, only with a different face and proper pants. The finished bridge looks fantastic. We add a couple more stormtroopers and take a look around with what's been done so far. So sorry for the shaky video. It's time to add the rear port side upper level, which was already highly featured in the intro. The War Room. My original thought for the entirety of the interior was to make the floor dark bluish gray throughout the ship. Then it occurred to me how boring that would look. I love how this level turned out, and it might be my favorite part of the interior. The tiling zigzag idea came to me one night while I was attempting to go to bed. I guess it looks okay, but let me know what you think. Next, we decorate the war room with minifigures. Thrawn, Tarkin, Agent Callus, Governor Price, the best Admiral Constantine I could pull off, Colonel Yularen, an R2 unit, protocol droid, and more stormtroopers standing guard. I found the torso for Governor Price at Hall of Bricks. It's tricky coming up with a good-looking interior once you get closer to the front of the ship. It needs to look good, but also fit within the downward slope of the upper panels. This is my answer to a docking bay control room. I was originally going to tile this section in black until I realized that every minifigure featured in the room would be wearing black. That wasn't going to work. I hope you like it. For what it's worth, this is my very favorite picture taken of this project. Let's take another look around before we jump back over to the port side. This is my answer to a gunning station. I wanted to include a room for the newer Imperial gunners and do my best at creating the visual we see at one point in A New Hope. It works for me, but let me know what you think. More importantly, it fits within the downward sloping panels. Let's talk about the added minifigures. We've got 4 of the new gunners, another crew member, an R5 unit, my best attempt at a lieutenant list, Dr. Krennic, and Dedra Meero. Dedra Meero's torso can be found at Hall of Bricks. There's a tiny sliver of open space left in the front of the ship. 3 years ago, I spent way too much time attempting to polish a turd of an unusable space. This time, I essentially created what looks like a mini tiled Star Destroyer and am calling it good. Commander Bricks created a fantastic mock of Grand Admiral Thrawn's office. I highly suggest you check it out if you haven't already. I loved it, but knew there was no way it could be included in this Star Destroyer due to the large length and width of floor space needed. Then I thought outside the box. If I built it short enough, could it slide into place over the actual bridge? Yes. Yes, it can. Brilliant! As always, I appreciate you stopping by to see what I have to show you. If you like it, that's awesome. Please know that I've never made a dime from YouTube and never will due to my feelings on the matter. See you next time from Slimbones Lego Star Wars channel.
Star Wars! Cold Medina. Yeah! Lord Vader.